Just
It's so ominous.
say this now.
Oh, hey, Alice. How's it going? I got some special people with me today. You came at a good time. In order, we got Mason, Courtney, and Alex from Kid Romantic. How you guys doing?
Feeling great. Feeling good. Yeah. How are you?
Doing good. I just beat you guys here actually by about 20 minutes. So
Awesome.
good timing. I got caught in traffic on the way back from work. It was like I was coming from Brentwood on the interstate, and it was like I was gonna stand still for about 20 minutes. I was worried you guys were gonna beat me here. So.
Oh, it took me at least 30 minutes just to get to the interstate from Murfreesboro.
You came up here from Murfreesboro?
Hmm?
Did you all come up here from Murfreesboro?
No, I was in Antioch.
Okay.
I was in East Nashville.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, man.
Definitely. I saw you guys. What was that? When did you guys play? That was Sunday.
Last weekend? Last Saturday?
Saturday.
You were there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came to see. That was your birthday party, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, I came to see Taxiway, but I'm glad I stuck around.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Me too, man.
Yeah.
I definitely became a fan of Taxiway after that show.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think I was telling Alex here about the I found you guys on Instagram before that. Because I guess whenever you guys made one, it popped up.
Yeah.
And then so then I saw the bill that Taxi was playing on. I'm like, oh shit, I just saw this band on Instagram. So small world.
right.
It's funny how stuff like that happens. Like, and we have a mutual friend, Sarah. It's
Yeah.
like it's a small world. It's
Right.
funny how that happens.
Acquaintance.
you
I
know?
haven't seen Sarah in like 6 years, but
It's been a while for me too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sarah and the Safe Word.
yeah, great band. Go check them out. Sarah and the Safe Word.
Man, they're blowing up right now.
really.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're doing big things.
They ended up on a buddy of mine, like, what is that Spotify rap thing where it's like what
Yeah.
you played the most of on Tommy's?
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
talking about that. Actually.
Speaking of big things, you guys have merch now. Got stickers.
Yeah,
That's
we,
awesome.
we have stickers and we're working on other stuff.
Hell
Right?
yeah.
Like it's all so dope. You know, we're working with some different artists, and Mason here's designed some things for us that are just
Right
look
on.
really, really cool. We're really excited to put out.
That's really cool. It's like if you're not doing this kind of thing, like expression, I mean, and maybe that's just me, but I feel like this is really one of the only things to do in life, I guess, is
I mean-
art.
I like to eat.
Eating's good. Eating's good. I guess yeah, it's not the only thing. There is eating.
Yeah.
Also,
Let's not overlook self-preservation. Like,
that is, you know what?
it's
Survival
fantastic.
is all right.
Oh yeah.
I'm not big on breathing.
I skipped that one today.
No, like I feel like people. I think as we said, it's just expression. People have to express themselves.
Yeah.
And that comes out one way or another. For us, it's, music. For some people, it's art. Some people, it's food. People express themselves and their feelings in a myriad of ways. And I think that's what makes life so interesting is that, everything that we do is an extension of ourselves in a way,
Mhm.
and it's how we feel about us and how we feel about the world around us. And whether you realize it or not, you're communicating that through everything that you do, I feel like. So in a way, not to get like, I guess, new agey on you, but I feel like everything that a person puts an effort into, or like puts themselves into it could be considered art, regardless of whether it's music, dance, art, or like visual art, podcasts, anything that captures a little bit of you could be considered art.
Like fashion, like just to express the way you express yourself in little ways too. Yeah, I get what you mean for sure. Yeah, it's like it kind of just bleeds out of us all, like maybe sometimes unintentionally, I think.
Oh yeah, subconsciously for sure. Like, and that's the thing that frustrates me about a lot of people is that people feel want so bad to just hold on to everything and keep everything close to chest. And what they don't understand is that everything that you're feeling is going to come out one way or the other. We're not built for that. We're not built to just hold everything in.
It eventually explodes.
Yeah.
You gotta have an outlet for sure. I feel that. What was I gonna say? Oh, I think like it's fear, the reason people hold it in, right?
Oh yeah.
They're afraid of what people are gonna think
Absolutely.
when they see that or hear that thing. And like that, like this is one of the rhetorics I go through all the time. But I think the opposite of fear is something like love. It's like, or the opposite of love isn't something like hate, it's more like fear. Because like courage isn't really the opposite of fear either. It's like you kind of have to be afraid in order to be brave. It's like courage is a response to fear. Whereas like, and hatred isn't really the opposite of love in the sense of like, you still feel something. Like that's still a connection.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for argument's sake, can you name something you hate and why?
I hate control over the individual. I think putting boundaries on any human being is the sin. Like that is, people have the right to be themselves, and no one has the right to take that from you. I hate that. I hate authority.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Wholeheartedly.
I take that all the way up to the man upstairs.
No, I feel that on every level. But so my question to you now is, do you feel like that hatred has its root in the fear of being controlled?
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, it's something like that for sure. I think you said that pretty well. It's like I'm afraid of someone's control over me. So it's like, because I mean, especially if you don't trust that person.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because like what? Yeah, you're just like, yeah, yeah. That we were just talking about Get Out and how that hypnotism scene really freaked me out. I don't know the people that make this movie. Like I don't have any specific reason to distrust Jordan Peele, but or the rest of the people behind the movie, but I don't know them. Yeah. So it like, oh, Alice, I was talking about how I was watching that movie Get Out, and there was a part in there that it hypnotized me a character, and I felt like I was being hypnotized by it. It scared me. But something like that, yeah, that terrifies me because it's like someone is relinquishing your own control over yourself.
Right. I can totally, I acknowledge it and I understand that fear wholeheartedly. What about you guys? Can you guys name something that you hate and why?
It's a good question. It's a hard question too.
It is, because like hate is just such a strong word, but I really don't like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
That's that line there between like there's plenty of things like I didn't like being stuck in traffic earlier, but do I necessarily hate it? That's a different term.
Well, I think
different.
when going back to like, and keep thinking while I say this.
I hate cantaloupe.
Damn fruit.
All cantaloupe?
This is a nasty fruit. Like honeydew can go get fucked too.
Okay.
Oh, I can ask my brother what it was, but there was some kind of fruit that he made us try. I always called it the booger fruit because like that's what it was. It was like the inside of it was like some kind of like seeds and a very mucusy consistency.
Are you sure he wouldn't just feed you boogers?
I mean, he could have been. Like he could have been. Like probably all the ones he stored up from my niece as she was growing up or something, like in a jar.
That's sick, but you gotta honor that kind of commitment.
Yeah. Dedication.
He would do it.
What about you? Is there anything you can think of?
Man. So I'm gonna kind of like do a cop out here for a second and be like, so I can't things that don't serve me don't stay in my mind long enough for me to hate them, if that makes sense. It's like I could be absolutely furious with a thing or a person, and it's happened many, many times. And my brain, and when I'm done being angry, when I'm done being upset, my brain will just into the ether because I've gotten to a point in my life where I just can't carry that around.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. And it's not healthy for anybody to be able to just hold grudges like that. I think, you know, everybody's journey is their own. But for me personally, it's like, I just don't have the energy and the space to hold on to negativity like that anymore. And that's not to say that things don't make me angry. It's not to say that things don't piss me off. It's just that I don't have the capacity to hold on to that for an extended amount of time. So it's like anything that I've been this utterly upset and mad and pissed off about, eventually it just goes away because I can't hold on to it.
I think that's a good way to be. Like I kind of envy that a little bit because it's like, I mean, if you hate something, it's just hurting you still, right?
Right.
It's like you're the one holding on to that, and it's like, I mean, it's not hurting that thing that you hate. It's just hurting you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, man.
It's like finding that balance between, like, people say you forgive, but you don't forget. And like, it's one of those idioms that's so cliche, but things are cliche because they
Makes sense.
because they make sense. You know, you forgive whoever hurt you, whatever hurt you, you forgive it so that you can move on. But you don't forget, because then if you let you forget, the same shit happens to you the next time.
I think
You know?
the hard part about that is like, if something's still happening, how do you move on from it?
That's the kicker, isn't it? And it's like, I think people hate things. I think people only hate things that are still more often than not, people hate things that are still actively affecting them, you know, on a regular basis. You know, people hate, you know, I don't know, their abusive partners or their abusive parents, or, you know, people hate their jobs. People hate, what's something common that everybody hates? Like
Christmas music.
Christmas music. So
Mariah
Cody,
Carey's coming again.
I have to play Christmas music at work all the time.
Cody, I see you, baby. I love you. I wish you were here, man. Mwah. So the reason I bring up Cody is because Cody vehemently hates Christmas music, and me personally, Christmas music. I was sitting in. So I'm gonna keep it real. The older I get, the less I care about Christmas. I might get like stoned for that, but like, I'm sorry, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, I don't get presents. Like right now, Christmas just feels more like a hassle than anything, because I gotta buy shit for people, I gotta visit people, I gotta do all these things, and it becomes more stressful than anything when you're an adult, I feel like. And so like I've had a hard time getting into the Christmas spirit, but I was sitting in the Hyundai service building waiting for my car to get serviced, and they were playing Christmas music the whole time I was there, like the whole 2 hours. And like in that moment, I was feeling jolly. I was like, oh, this is nice. It feels,
This is Christmas spirit.
this is Christmas spirit. Like, and I hadn't felt that. And I think I'm one of those people who's just very, very deeply affected by music. Like, that's just something, like, ever since I was a kid, like music has just moved me in a way that I mean, it's just very intense and meaningful to me. So like when I hear Christmas music, I don't hear, first of all, I love that song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. First of all, Mariah Carey is everything. I love that song. I love Mariah Carey. I'll listen to it all damn day. But like, just Christmas music in general is just people being joyful about the season, and that made me feel good. It made me feel good that somebody was joyful enough about the time and the season to sing about it.
It's a really awful thing for me to shit on, because it's just good vibes. It's just like, it's just people having a good time. It's like, oh, fuck that.
I mean, hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You're not entitled. No one's entitled to like Christmas music. I'm just saying, me personally.
But at the very least, you're self-aware of that. Instead of just being like,
It's not all good. There's a lot of commercialism. You know, there's fights over Starbucks cups.
How dare you
Yeah.
say happy holidays to me? Which I've been telling people happy holidays like all around, and I've yet to get a weird look about it. So hey, progress.
That's I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and we didn't like do holidays as a kid, so I have like a weird relationship with things like Christmas and Halloween. But that's something like when I was a kid, that's something we would happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas. And like I like not this year, but I have had like weirdness about that. Like maybe back in the like while back, like going up to people and saying happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas to kind of expect. It's also kind of a area thing, I think. Like if you're in more of a rural area rather than Nashville, it's like people most of them are celebrating Christmas, not Hanukkah or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it kind of is one of those things where you never know
Mhm.
with a person. Somebody, I do that for the people who aren't celebrating Christmas, who don't necessarily, or even not even necessarily that they are of a different denomination. Even people who just don't want to celebrate Christmas. No, hey, happy holidays. It's cold. It's dark. I have seasonal depression. This shit sucks. But like, hey, I hope you have a good time anyway. You know?
Yeah.
Around this time of year.
Yeah. I think it's a dumb thing for people to get angry about.
Oh, it's
Like,
absolutely,
happy
it absolutely
holidays.
is.
Yeah.
But
You know what? People are gonna get mad about something no matter what you do.
That ain't the one that I
absolutely.
subscribe to.
I don't like that.
Yeah, right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like being raised like hyper religiously, like I'm very much aware of cult mentality. Like I just see it everywhere. And like it has expanded outside of religions. Now it's everything. Well, I mean, like low-hanging fruit would be like sports teams. It's like I don't really give a shit if my sport team does well. I'm still in their corner. You know what I'm saying? That's how people generally treat it. It's like that's my city, you know, whether your city is doing well or not. And like I mean everything, literally everything is like that. Like politics is another low-hanging fruit where if you don't agree with me, you're not in my group. Like I can't have a communication with you if we're not on the same page about certain things. It's like that's why I got away from all of that as a kid, is like I don't like being told how to think or how to act.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like you you know, politics is a very weird one, an interesting one, because it's like, does anybody else think it's weird to like so I voted blue. I voted for Joe Biden. I don't carry around Biden shirts. I don't carry around
It's
Biden
not part of your identity.
hair. It's not part of my identity.
Right.
I
Yeah.
voted for that guy because I wanted the other guy out. That's as far as I thought it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not particularly happy with him either. We're not going to get too deep into it, but like politics is one of those things where it's like I'm held hostage by a system that I didn't choose.
Exactly.
But I got to make a choice. And I think it's kind of shitty to shit on people for making a choice in a system that that kind of makes them.
The whole thing is so confusing. Like, yeah, we have to be able to talk, like to have a conversation about everything.
But
And like,
it gets so volatile.
yeah,
On
it
both,
can.
and I hate to say this because I hate this rhetoric, but on both sides, people get so passionate about it. I saw a video of this girl, like it was a TikTok of this girl, it was Joe Biden in the background, and like Joe Biden in the background giving a speech, and she's just sobbing, like she's really feeling whatever Joe Biden is saying. And everybody in the comments is like, yeah, this aged poorly. And even I'm like, in my head, I'm going, yeah, this aged poorly. This is a bad look. But like, I can't imagine ever being that passionate about a politician.
Mhm.
Like even when Obama was elected, it's like, okay, this is a hallmark for the Black community. There is a Black president now. That means something. That meant something. That still means something to this day. And it really did shake up a lot of shit in our politics, which, you know, we won't get too much into. But that was something that meant something, not necessarily Obama himself as a person. You know, Obama does seem like a really cool guy. Like I sit and hang out with Obama. But
Obama, come on the podcast.
yeah, go kick it with us.
Do it.
But the notion of a Black president in America was something that was so unheard of. When it finally happened, it like set it like that was a meaningful moment in history. But the person himself, I find it weird to like I find it weird to look at to look at a politician and not scrutinize them.
Mhm.
Because that's kind of the whole point as you
Oh.
as a constituent is to scrutinize this person and make sure that they are doing the things that they say they're going to do.
Especially if you're in their corner.
Yeah.
Not especially if you're in their corner, and not if you're like if you voted for this person, extra scrutinize them. It's like police your politicians, like make sure they hold up their promises, where it's like low hanging fruit. Trump supporters will support Trump
No matter what he does.
no matter what he does a lot of the time. And like that, I mean, that is just a low hanging fruit. I could point to any politician really, but like, yeah, critical thinking, not just I'm in this camp. And if my team doesn't win this football game, I'm still in this camp. It's like, maybe you should just pick a better team. Pick a team that does what you want them to do.
First of all, I'm an Atlanta fan, so you are that I find that extremely insulting.
Blasphemy.
My team is hot garbage, and I will stick by them till I die.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's how sports works. Yeah.
But the thing, I could say that because sports is inconsequential.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it does not affect anything or anyone's life if Atlanta loses like their 30th game this season. It might hurt emotionally, but I'll get over it.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually, I gotta go home.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah. Whereas like the religion and politics, not a game.
Yeah,
we're talking about people's lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So.
And like you were like we were just saying, like people getting volatile on both sides of it. Like, let's go back 500-600 years. It's like witch burnings. It's like not even witches. Speak out against Catholicism. Period. And we won't just kill you. We will make an example out of you. Real shit, that's not that far back in our history. Like, I mean, it is, it's not. But like we're looking at that again, really. It's witch hunts. It's like,
yeah, people are so excited. We've made it a game. I don't know if you guys have been on social media recently. Like, people love looking for things to socially crucify you with.
For sure.
Like we love looking at people like I'm going back to that video of that girl. It's like, yeah, this did not age well, but you have publicly shamed this person on a widespread platform. And this was not a person that I followed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you are reaching people that don't know you. Like, you have a reach and you are clowning this person because you think it's funny, it's cute, whatever. And clearly this person, I mean, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. This person crying at a video of Joe Biden speaking doesn't seem like they're the most, emotionally, together person. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they might take offense. They might feel some kind of way about you, doing this to them. And not to say that, and like, I feel like we as a society, we lost empathy, compassion. Like, you're a human being and you deserve to live and be happy.
Yeah, even if you have the wrong ideas.
Yeah,
it's like, let's just talk and like maybe we can work out our differences instead of like, no, if we disagree about this thing, you're literally the devil and I'm going to kill you.
No, I will say this. There are some things that, that can't be reconciled. For instance, if, you believe that a person deserves to die based on their beliefs or who they choose to love or the color of their skin, then no, I can't reconcile that with you. Yeah.
They have to come to you and meet you on that level. You're not going to meet them on that level.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I'm not reaching across the aisle to somebody who would sooner cut my hand off than reach back. Like,
you're absolutely right. There are hard lines in the sand, and willingness to communicate is one of those lines. If you're not willing to debate your ideas, it's like, well, then we can't really talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And not everything is up for and there are things that just aren't up for debate. People's lives are not up for debate.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's, I mean, contextually, like, because we have some states have like a murder clause where it's like, what do you call that? Death penalty.
Yeah.
And it's like, so, I mean, we literally are arguing on people's lives at some points. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's happening. It's like
here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Do we have a death penalty here?
We have, yeah. Riverbend. It's where death row's at.
Let's talk about that. How do you guys, what do you guys think about that? Life in prison or death penalty?
I feel like it's kind of like a messy thing, and I would just say that I'm unsure how I feel
Mhm.
about it. I definitely understand, victims' families and like incredibly gruesome and heinous crimes. I think they're justified to feel how they feel about it. But a lot of people's, argument against it is that they want them to suffer more with life in prison. So is the motivation of being against it, like, where is that coming from? Is it really mercy or is it vengeance?
Yeah.
And like what else is at stake? I don't think this has really happened often, but what if there is a prolific serial killer who repeatedly escapes? In that instance, like, I'm just going to say I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very gray.
It is.
But there's also a lot of people that are wrongfully convicted, and it's a crime against humanity to put them to death.
Yeah. I guess it's also a crime against humanity to put them in a cage too. Like you were saying, like it's like sometimes the motivation would be like killing them's not good enough. They have to. And I kind of feel that way where it's like if you put someone in a cage for 10, 20 years, you might as well kill them at that point. It's like I personally feel I've never been in that situation, so I can't really say. But I feel like I'd rather die than be confined like that for a long period of time.
And there are people who make that choice.
Yeah. It seems like I suppose the way I look at it, and like you said, it's hard to say, it's not an easy question, but I suppose the way I look at it is I don't think it's never something you should be happy about, but some people need to die because they're a threat to society. It's like I'm not happy about it, but like what other solutions sometimes?
So
Yeah.
What?
was your phone on silent?
No.
Thanks for reminding me. I don't think mine is either.
Yeah.
Mine is
How-
not, because I'm scared.
how would
I'll
I
remember to
respect
turn it
that?
back
How
on.
dare you, sir?
There's no way I like.
We are
No way.
you are a professional. We are on a show, and you.
Hey, Alice is chill. She's cool.
I'm kidding. I love you.
You say this now. Wait till the camera's on.
Let's change gears a little bit. What you guys have any ghost stories? Just whatever order you guys want to.
I don't.
I get. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I should preface that better. Do you have any experiences that you can't reconcile with logic? Something like that.
I have friends.
Dead friends?
Maybe I broadened it too much. I guess it's hard thing to phrase. Like, yeah, like a supernatural experience, something that seems to break your idea of logic, I guess.
Unfortunately, I'm a dead as a doorknob on that one. Yeah.
That's not a bad answer.
Yeah.
I think this whole like existence is supernatural, quite honestly. I think the fact that I am a, walking, talking, thinking, feeling being, and I'm mostly carbon and water and electrical impulses, like that's when you break down existence into what it actually is on a scientific level, it doesn't make any sense. When you think about the fact that we are on a, 200 billion ton rock hurtling through space at a billion miles an hour, and we're just sitting here having conversation, like
It's pretty crazy.
it's weird, right? If you want to look at it on that level.
That's an excellent answer. Like It's like maybe I'm looking for that thing when it's like literally everywhere. It's
Yeah.
everything.
Life in general is strange. It's strange and beautiful and awful,
Yeah.
and all just runs the whole spectrum of
The full array of adjectives.
Mm.
but it's cool, right?
Can we call
I'm
this?
having a good time.
Right? In this moment, this is fun. I really
Yeah.
enjoy this.
Can we
Me
write
too.
a song and call it array of adjectives?
Array of adjectives.
I mean,
You want to write an adjective song?
not necessarily, but I just like that title.
I love words describing other words.
Alliteration for the win. Like,
Courtney, do you have any ghost stories?
I just don't feel like I don't know. I'm a person that like wants to believe in a lot of things, but I'm very agnostic about everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I did feel that way at one point, very much so. I was like, when I got out away from religion, I was probably more than agnostic, like atheist level.
I feel like I was raised Church of Christ, so
Okay.
I don't think I could ever go back.
Yeah. But were you guys raised religiously?
One of my mother's greatest regrets was that me and my brother were not raised in the church. Was told that at least a couple of times.
What denomination is your mom?
She was Church of Christ as well. I like that that's your reaction.
What about you, Alex?
Non-denominational, as they would say.
My family's, well, my mom anyway is very loosely religious. My dad so my parents have been divorced since I was 11 years old. So, but before all of that, we used to go to church a lot, and I believe it was my dad that that did that. My dad's still very active in the church. I feel like the Black religious experience is something that I can't. You could do a whole podcast on that by itself.
I think we should.
There's just a lot of really interesting nuances there between the cross section of being a Black person in America and being a religious person in America and what that means. But me personally, so I was a very angry and lonely and depressed teenager, and I found some kind of comfort in my mom had a friend, and her friend's parents would take me and my little sister to church with them. They were Episcopalian. And I got involved with the youth group at their church, and at that time that was something that really just I needed something to cling to. I mean, I needed something to make me feel like life was worth living at that time. And that helped me get through a really rough time in my life. Also, one of the greatest experiences I've had in my life was going to Ireland on a mission trip with that youth group. Which shout out to them for going to Ireland on a mission trip and not like fucking Africa or some shit. Because like, oh god, so shouts out to them for that. But not for like, so like we're all aware that mission trips are bullshit. Like people like you go to this impoverished country to spread your gospel or whatever. It's like, oh hey, we'll give you water.
We'll give you things.
Yeah, you spend all this money to go there and virtue signal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not why we went to. That's not why we went to Ireland. Ireland is. But no, that's not why we went to Ireland. I learned a lot in Ireland, and I learned about like the Celtic Christians. There was this intersection of paganism and Christianity where they believe that God was of the earth and we should respect and revere the earth in a way that as we would respect and revere God. Also, we learned about like the Holy Trinity, like the feminine Holy Trinity, the mother, the Virgin, the mother, and the crone.
Is that also an Irish thing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, like a Celtic pagan type deal, like the divine feminine, which is
Celtic pagan.
Right. And that blends with Christianity somehow?
Yeah, well, what happened was the Romans invaded, the British Isles, and then they ended up in Ireland, and there was a lot of like cultural melding going on, where it's like the pagans of that island, kind of a lot of ideas were getting swapped between them and the Christians, or the Roman Catholics or whatever, and so like we end up with like Celtic Christians, which was like a super cool thing.
That's
that
really
happened,
cool,
right?
Yeah.
Right?
That reminds me, I know very little about it, but I've been looking into Haitian voodoo, which is like a mix of African voodoo magic and European Catholicism.
Yeah,
and it gets weird.
Yeah, the melding of those two religions. And by the way, like, first of all, Christianity or monotheism specifically originated in Africa or in that like Middle Eastern peninsula. Monotheistic religion started there. The Europeans adopted that from us. So, and full circle, talking about being a teenager and being super into the church, and like that was a thing that helped me out a lot. And then I got to college and I took an African American studies class, and we talked about how all this Christianity shit was stolen out of Egypt and Africa, and like, you know, the Europeans worked it to make it into something, you know, to suit their own ends. And that's when I basically kind of like, that's when I became an agnostic. And as I've gotten older, I'm sort of, yeah, I mean, so I consider myself a Christian in the most literal sense, in that I believe in the, I don't want to say allegory, but the what Jesus Christ represents. And for all intents and purposes, like in terms of like how Jesus's accurate portrayal in the Bible, Jesus was a person of color. He was a socialist.
He certainly wasn't white blonde.
He certainly wasn't white blonde, gun toting, like
America.
like,
Hey now.
That's blasphemy. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
You go to hell. You go to hell and you die.
Let the record show that when someone asks you what would Jesus do, chasing people around with a bullwhip is an option.
I call that Tuesday. I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah, maybe stop or just do that. It's like that just for the rest of the interview.
Okay. All right now. So
your voice is gonna get stuck like that. It's just gonna happen.
Probably.
It's West Virginia Ninja.
West Virginia Ninja.
Yeah, don't go ninja. Nobody don't need ninja, okay?
Yeah, what you're saying about Christianity though, like the only reason I wouldn't call myself a Christian is because I know I'm not living that lifestyle. I'm not following Jesus' footsteps, but that's literally the only reason.
I mean,
like I'm not acting like a Christian.
Well, do you consider yourself a person who would help those in need? Were you consider yourself a person of empathy and kindness towards your fellow man? Would you consider yourself a person who is not necessarily, I mean, sacrificing, I guess is like a really intense word, but like I consider myself a Christian in the sense that like I believe in what Jesus Christ stood for, really and truly. Like, I believe in that ethos.
And that's something akin to treat others the way you want to be treated, empathy, good vibes.
Yeah,
something like that.
Good vibes, but just like, you know, respecting yourself, respecting the planet, respecting others, like just respect and reverence for life as it is, you know, and just doing your best not to do more good than harm in the world. That's really my end goal in life, is to do more good than harm.
Yeah,
I'm not a perfect person.
You're asking me if I stand for those things. I think like fundamentally yes, but if I'm to look outside of myself, like step bak and actually assess myself, there are areas that I need a lot of improvement on. You know what I mean?
We all do, but that doesn't make you any more. No, first of all, none of us are perfect. The idea
It's
that
the effort.
yeah, and it's the idea that there is a way to be Christian in and of itself that is just wrong, just so incredibly wrong. Like there isn't a rule. I mean, I guess there is technically a rule book, but
and I think in that instance too, when you start trying to look at yourself like from a third party perspective, it's hard to not focus on the negative. Like I think a lot of people, when they try to look at themselves from outside themselves, those are usually the first things that they think about.
Yeah, and then like when you're too inside yourself, it's like you might be looking at things not pragmatically either.
Right, because everything he's talking about, like helping out someone else and, you know, all these other good things, for whatever reason, I think a lot of people will immediately think of instances where I was not acting in such a way.
That is exactly what I did. You're right. Yeah. Now, yeah, I get what you're saying though. It's not about like, yeah, I think maybe I am looking at it wrong. It's an effort. It's like no one is just there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think all of us that are trying to do better every day, trying to be better, and you know, trying to be as altruistic as we can, because we can't all, you know, there are just a lot of things we're not capable of, but you know, carrying it in your heart that like I want to do good, I want to be better. I think that in and of itself, and labels are one of those things that you as a person choose. And I think what people don't realize is that fellowship is great. Fellowship is a good way to connect with people, but your religious journey and what you believe and your relationship with God or with Christ, what have you, is deeply, deeply personal.
Yeah.
And it boils down to how you feel about it, not what everyone else feels.
But I think that's a good point too, kind of coming back to what you were talking about when it came to like sports teams and everything else. When people like develop those groups, I think it's because people inherently have that need for a sense of community, like some sense of belonging with a
Tribe.
group. And when you come across those that feel differently, of course, you're coming across someone that you've identified yourself with this group that you are now a part of, that you are one of many. Well, it's like you're against all of us. And in that whole sense.
It's a dangerous game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And did you ever watch what was it? Billy and Mandy, or The Adventures of Billy and
fuck
Mandy?
yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one episode that I always think about when it comes to like politics, race, or like all these things where it's like these disagreements. And it's really stupid. I'm gonna admit that right up front.
I mean, it was a stupid show.
I mean, yes. So there was an episode where you found out Billy was afraid of clowns. And there he has this like moment where he's talking to his future self and he's like, look, you shouldn't be afraid of clowns. Like, why are you afraid of them? Because they're different? And it's like, you shouldn't be afraid of them because they're different. You should hate them. How dare they be different?
Whoa. Oh,
And-
geez.
And that's what I think about a lot in life.
Oh.
you can liken a lot of life's great, epiphanies to Billy and Mandy.
I mean, it stuck.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's like, it's funny how kids shows can be like some of the realest shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Man, SpongeBob still is amazing.
I swear I need to write a parody episode and call it Squidward Games.
Someone's already done that on the internet, I promise.
I'm sure they have, but still.
Yeah, you gotta get on that now because when this goes up, someone's gonna steal it.
Give me a producer credit. At least that. My last name's Goff, Goff. Spell it right.
Golf?
Damn it.
Oh man.
I just want to title things. That's my life. Just want to title things.
So, what about aliens? Thoughts on aliens? I guess if aliens exist is like that's not good enough. Do you think aliens have been here on Earth?
If they did, I know why they didn't come back.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, if there truly is a species out there intelligent and advanced enough for intergalactic travel, you really think they're coming here?
I think they came and went, like you said.
Yeah.
There's some
we're the planet that other aliens like roll up their windows when they drive by.
Maybe they were here first, and then like people showed up, and they're like, "Oh, this neighborhood's gone to shit."
Property values have been down.
It's dramatic.
Did we really what's the word? What word am I looking for? Did we gentrify Earth from the aliens?
Kind of.
Did we?
Yeah. Something like that. Well, I didn't bring it up just so I could give my opinion on it. What do you guys think?
Again, no.
No?
Like, yeah. So,
I really think in the grand scheme of things, I'm not smart enough to know.
You seem like you kind of just you're up in the air on things until you figure it out on a couple of
See, I
things.
feel like
That's a good way to be though.
even with science, like we used to think things that were like magic, like you said with the witch trials, like people were burned because they could swim. And now we're like, oh, that's a very simple thing. Like, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out one day.
I'm definitely not criticizing it. It's good to be open-minded. Like it could be anything, right?
I promise I have some opinions.
You're just not asking the right questions.
Right. So I guess what do you guys think about pyramids then?
Never seen one.
Oh yeah, I've only seen pictures. It's
You never did the
It's a lovely theory.
the Bass Pro Shop in
It's
Memphis.
it's a nice.
That is true. I remember driving past that, didn't know it existed, and I was like, holy shit. And I was like, why does it say Bass Pro?
It's a lovely shape, but I've lived in a tiny home and now I understand the value of vertical space, and it reaches a point of diminishing returns in pyramids. So I don't know if I could live in one.
Well, the thing that's the point. The point of pyramids is not to live in them. They're
Remember me.
they are a testament to man's ingenuity
Mm.
and ego.
Oh, I don't like that.
Look
See,
at
that's
all
the
of my
one.
shit. This is part of what I've amassed.
That's the one I can't wrap my head around is what you like. I can't. How the fuck did we do that?
Math,
A lot of dead
slave
dudes.
labor,
A lot of dead dudes.
a lot of dead dudes.
Yeah.
Like I said, mostly I feel like time, mostly math, slave labor, and time. Like when you have an entire like race of people
No
building
Netflix.
building shit
That is
shit
boring.
for you.
And sheer will.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm the God King. I'm Nebuchadnezzar or whatever, and I got all these people building shit for me. Like that's certainly how that goes. And I have like I have like the smartest guy in Egypt on payroll, like architecturing this shit for me. Like
If you're right, the implications of that are insane because that means we're not nearly as smart as we were.
I don't think that's true. I think elaborate on that. How do you figure?
They still can't figure out how they well, I mean, they could have done it nowadays with like lasers, but they have no idea how they perfectly cut these stones. Like
No.
there's nothing in between them.
I
They're
think
like perfectly placed.
I think it comes back. I think it goes in cycles. It was something that Nietzsche kind of said, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, where it was like, good times make weak men make bad times make strong men, and strong men make good
Hmm.
times.
So maybe because we've got it pretty good nowadays with technology,
Right.
we're soft and getting dumber. Kind of like Wally.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I don't think
it goes in a cycle that way.
I don't think we're getting dumber. I think that there's more of us. First of all, there's more of us now than there were back in the day.
Sure.
A lot more, like considerably more. But that being said, I think if whoever designed the pyramids for that time was a genius, was a certifiable genius. If you gave that guy a Rubik's Cube, his head would combust. Like it's
Different
like
kinds of intelligence.
different kinds of intelligence, exactly. Like these guys, like there were schools of like you're talking about a point in history where people were coming up with like the Pythagorean theorem and shit just out of sheer boredom. They didn't have anything else to do, so they created mathematics, and now we all have to take fucking algebra. Like,
What's the language of the universe?
It's like a weird thing because like I'm sure all of us have cell phones. Most of us probably have
I
computers.
definitely do.
And like I don't know
it's
how
on
to build
tape.
that though.
You prove it.
I have no idea how
Rewind
it
it.
works or how to build a phone. I don't know. I know barely how to operate a computer. I don't know. I like enough to do like web searches and basic stuff, but I couldn't go in there and like change things.
It's all wizards.
Touchscreen is an
Yeah.
anomaly to me. I have no idea how do you make it so that like I press a piece of glass and it sends an electric impulse into this machine that that makes something else appear on like it's magic. It might as well be magic.
It's a very sensitive
Yeah.
wizard.
It's getting into like etymology and like the language we're using around things like there's no difference between science and magic. It's just how we're looking at it.
Right.
Like you were saying earlier, it's like you give that dude a Rubik's Cube, it's magic.
Yeah.
And then to me at least, like the pyramids, that's magic. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, but I mean, it could. I'm not counting that possibility out. It's just still hard for me to conceptualize that.
I think like if you ask an architecture student or you ask like a design student, like, hey, how'd they build the pyramids? It's like, well, there you go. Like, here's the
Just explain the whole thing. Yeah.
like they could break it down for you. And like the thing is like space, there's only so many things you can do with space. There's a finite amount of dimensions that we have to work with. They haven't changed in 100 million years. There's nothing, I mean, not that there's nothing new, But
The
it's
building
like,
blocks are the same.
yeah, the building blocks are the same. They had the same brick and mortar that we're working with now, you know. So it's like, yeah, it's like people are so astounded, but it's like, again, it's a testament to, you know, the Pharaoh's ego, the droves of again, the slave labor that he had in his camp, and you know, the brilliant minds that, you know, he had on payroll, you know. So that, there you go. You get enough brain power and manpower and ego behind, you can make anything happen.
I also believe that innovation comes out of necessity to an extent.
Oh, that's true. See a need, fill a need. But also, do you feel like the pyramids were a necessity?
No, but just when we say, you know, were people more intelligent previously, you know, and I think that we asked that question because these are the people that, you know, invented the calendar, you know, like we didn't always have HVAC, we didn't always have electricity. And I sometimes wonder if it makes us like a little bit pettier and a little bit less grateful, because I believe that fear is an instinct that used to be there to help us survive. You know, you need a little bit of fear so that you step out of the way when that car is coming, for example. And so now that the average person hopefully has a roof over their head, you know, like is able to stay warm in the wintertime. Not everybody, unfortunately, but do we get hung up on other things, you know, other things that don't really matter as much, like trivial things that you just wouldn't have time for? Because I've been camping in the woods with just a hammock, and I really don't have time to worry about my beef with so and so, or like who Ryan Gosling is going to marry. Like, I don't know. And I really don't worry about that anyway, but you're kind of worried, like, okay, is my fire going to burn throughout the night? Am I going to be warm? Like, do I have my food cooked before the sun sets? Because it's going to be really difficult to eat if I don't have that taken care of in this set period of time. And I just wonder if that impacts how we relate with each other in the world and what we view as a problem.
It's got to, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
like,
People need some kind of an adversary.
Gotta
and
fight something.
unfortunately, like the way things are right now too, like we all have to isolate. You know, we're getting more isolated from each other through, I mean, because of necessity, but like these tech companies, they're not really going so much to like these big buildings. Like if you can, mostly people are working from home, and if you have that kind of job, you know, and it's like we're getting like, yeah, isolated. Like contact with people is getting weird, like, and more sparse.
And imagine what it'll be like in another 20 years.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's like the world is bigger than it's ever been. You know, and we're more connected now than we've ever been. And yet I know so many people who are terrified to make phone calls.
Oh man, I hate it.
I have weird anxiety about phone calls. Like that's something that I've actively had to work against, because it's like, this is like, do you ever wonder why it bothers you to make a phone call? Because I don't know. Like it bothers me. It's something I've actively worked against now that I know that it's happening, but like I don't know why
I don't know
it's such
either.
a thing. I don't know why it's such a hang up for, and it's such a universal thing.
And I get nervous.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
have phones. Like we have friends that we want to talk to, and we go, oh God, I don't want to call them. Only for the call me.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And then, dude, I have even screen calls from people I like. I'm like, because I just don't want to talk on the phone.
Right? It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. That now, granted, I'm the kind of person I would much rather have a conversation in face to face anyway.
Yeah.
And I will absolutely not. I will absolutely not FaceTime. Like I FaceTime like maybe one or two people in my life. Do not ever FaceTime me.
Is that worse than talking on the phone?
Then again, that's something I need to go home and sit on, because I don't know what my issue is with FaceTime. It's supposed to help me, right? It's supposed to be I can see your face. We can have a face-to-face conversation, even though technically you're not here. It's supposed to be a thing that helps me.
Fill in those nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Right? But like in my brain just can't, like there's a disconnect. I don't know why.
Can I get you guys some water? Can you get some?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Please.
Yeah.
Hydration.
I need to drink some water. Actually, well,
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you, sir.
thanks, man. I need to drink more water.
Dude, yeah. Man, I've been like hyper focused on my breathing lately. Just like because I actually stopped smoking about a month ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, that was actually another part of that story because it has to, after I watched Get Out, I was like, okay, the thing about this whole hypnotism thing is it's like a fear of control because I don't know these people. But I was like, well, what if I could just hypnotize myself because I trust myself? And it's been over a month, and I've had a bad nicotine addiction for 6-7 years. I am not even fighting the urge to smoke. That's the crazy part for me is like I don't want to. But the reason I brought it up, another thing, like the mantras I was giving myself are like, I prefer clean air to smoke. I prefer living to smoking. And like, I've just been like taking like consciously, like taking really deep breaths. And that's like the best drug in the world, just oxygen.
Yeah.
It feels so healthy, you know? And like water, that's the other one. It's like I've been drinking a lot of water and I feel so much better. Not just physically, but like I'm not as anxious. I'm not as I like my whole well-being is better since I stopped.
I've kind of gotten like, I've been pretty much either coffee or water for like the last 2 years. And like, I'll get stomach aches if it's anything like carbonated, like Cokes, any kind, will just for whatever reason, it just upsets my stomach now.
Interesting. It's like maybe like your body realizes it's poison if like it's not used to
Or
it all
it's
the
just
time.
some kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you don't eat, if you don't eat a lot of fast food after for like months at a time, and then you go to Taco Bell, and then, well, Taco Bell at any point, but
That's poison.
right,
That's the good poison.
your body goes like, "Whoa."
The
I love Taco Bell. Rice and beans for $1, 2 minutes from work.
I
Hell
did
yeah.
hit up that what is it, double steak burrito? Like, it's not bad.
I can't hand it,
I know
but
not you, but yeah,
I'm sure it's excellent.
it is bomb. It is.
I could
bomb.
probably make it better at all.
True, but then you gotta do dishes.
I don't care. Cooking is
Come
like
over.
cooking is like my love language.
We should do a band potluck one day.
Y'all come to my house. I will cook you so much. Well, if you want to go, we'll go shopping. I'll cook whatever you guys want to buy. Like, I love cooking for people. It's my love language. I love doing it. I cooked a Thanksgiving meal for some of my theater friends, and that was a fun time. I cooked for like 3 hours straight, and I actually ended up late to the Friendsgiving, but everybody really enjoyed the food, and I had leftovers for days, and it was great. I had a really good time with that.
were you a theater kid?
Still am,
Still am.
regrettably,
Right on, man.
for better or worse.
It like did you do plays?
Yes. In
Do you
fact,
still?
yeah, I was
Hell yeah.
I was recently Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay. Is there like a theater troupe here?
Hmm.
I haven't been to a play
There's
in a long time.
There's so many. I did Little Shop of Horrors with Consider This Theater Company in Murfreesboro. I'm currently about to do a play that was written by a local playwright with Little Murfreesboro Theater in Murfreesboro called Grand Finale. So that's going to be January 6th through 9th in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
They're all over the place. Larry Keaton over by for like Fat Bites and what is that place? It's that place, the Irish bar. McNamara's over by over by McNamara's. There's Larry Keaton Theater. They do stuff. There's Dark Horse somewhere in town. I want to say it's not. It's over by that burger joint. EL something. No, Rose something.
Melrose.
ML
Yeah.
It's over by ML Rose.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so much theater going on in Nashville, dude. It's incredible.
right on.
It's so cool.
I went to Drunken Shakespeare a few years ago. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, inebriated Shakespeare.
Inebriated Shakespeare is what it was.
Yeah.
And before I saw a local play, Dog Sees God. It was like Charlie Brown themed. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember the company though that did it.
Sounds interesting.
Those are the only local plays I've seen though.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I mean, just check Facebook. There's always stuff going on in Nashville.
Right on.
I saw a rock musical about Lizzie Borden a couple months ago. That was
Hell
really
yeah.
sick.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool.
I wanna get like plugged in on that and keep up with it. Sounds fun.
Yeah, man. So many cool stuff, dude. Did you do theater?
No, I didn't. I was not only was I a Jehovah's Witness, but I was also homeschooled.
Oh,
So I was extremely sheltered.
yeah.
That all of my
Welcome
friends
to the
were in
world,
my
dude.
church.
Welcome to the world.
Hey, it's pretty great. It's not as scary as they made it sound.
Right?
so. I'm actually
Are you sure how much of it you've seen?
my fair share. The oh, I had a Mormon hit me up on Facebook the other day. I guess they're expanding their ministry to Facebook now, which is cool. But I've been having like a really cool conversation with the guy because I love talking about this kind of stuff. It's just I have a problem when people want to talk about it, but they want to tell me how they feel about it, but they're not willing to have a discussion about it. Like meet me on an equal playing field. And it's like that frustrates me because I've read the Bible a few times and I understand its contents to a degree. And it's like if someone's coming at you from a perspective of like, I'm the authority on this, it's like I don't like organized religion for that reason, where it's like a man is telling you how to feel about this or explaining to you what it is.
A lot of it's I feel like the Bible. I've also read the Bible, but a lot of it's anecdotal, and a lot of it's really open ended. And it's been written and rewritten and translated so many different times that it's really hard to tell what any of it actually is or means. And what I will say is that like I do agree with the idea that like somebody telling you this is what this means is stupid, but the idea or the concept of a preacher or a worship leader whose job it is to contextualize the Bible for people and go, this is how you can apply this to your everyday life. I think there's merit to that.
Sure, totally. Like sharing a message and like, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think they overstep their bounds when it's like, it's not a discussion. It's like,
You're absolutely right.
Depending on the intent.
Like the Joel Osteens of the world.
yeah, fuck that. It's like so not Christian to subjugate someone and like put them under your view. of it.
Exactly.
It's like
I feel like the best preachers are the people who aren't there to tell you it's my way or the highway, instead of tell you, hey, I think being a preacher, I feel like is kind of like a lot like being a politician in the sense that like, the people decide whether what you're saying is worth anything or not. You share how you feel, and these people choose whether or not they believe you, or these people agree with you,
or they'll get another preacher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. It's like, man, yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. But like, if it's the kind of church where you can like, hey, I don't like this guy's rhetoric about it, and just get another one like a politician, that's not so bad. I think I can get behind something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I have to talk to people whenever like Jehovah's Witnesses come up. I always want to let people know like, don't like, they are taught to present their perspective, not even their perspective, to present their religion's perspective, and kind of just one ear out the other with your perspective when they're having that kind of conversation with you. That's how they're taught, and I fundamentally disagree with that. I don't, but like my sister is still a regular pioneer. That means she knocks on doors, or at least she did pre-COVID, like 70 hours a month or something like that.
Jesus.
And like when someone leaves, it is a cult. When you leave, no one's allowed to talk to you. But I have a really cool relationship with my family because they're real Christians. They're not just this man told them not to talk to their son. They just blindly agree with that. You know?
They talk to themselves.
Right.
But that is a very rare scenario.
Yeah.
I know many kids that do not have that situation. Their parents will ignore their phone calls regardless. They could be dying in the street and they're not going to get an answer.
Why would you follow something that expects that of you?
Not very
Why-
Christ-like, is it?
Yeah, why would
Yeah.
you adhere to a religion or to any organization that would tell you that it's wrong for you to have contact with your children or your family?
Splitting up
Torture the
families
entire
is
genders,
an
right?
extremely unchristian thing to do, and it makes me very aggravated. Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy in that. It's not just witnesses, obviously. Although that's like the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But that has made me like hyper conscious of like group thinking, and it's like if someone basically putting themselves under a set of ideas instead of thinking about things critically. I think in order to be a human being, you need to like figure it out for yourself. You have to kind of like weigh all the ideas, weigh Buddhism, Islam, look at them all
Find what works for
and
you.
find
What works for you. Like I think where we screwed up as a society or as a species is that we don't look at ourselves as the human race. Like I just had this thought of, life is a dialogue. It's the sharing of information between people who may not necessarily agree or who have different experiences than you. And, at the end of the day, you guys have different experiences, you guys have different ideas and opinions, and you have different things that, make you who you are. And that's good. We need individuality in this life, but we also have to know that as human beings, we still owe each other a certain degree of respect and empathy and support because no one else is going to do it. We have to, no man is an island. You can be different. You guys are all different from me. You guys are all, have different thoughts and opinions and ideas and experiences. And I love those things about you guys. I love how different you are. And the hell with it. Like, I just met you, but like, I love you, man.
I love you too, bro. I'm so glad you guys are here.
You're
This is
good.
great.
You're good people, and I'm thankful to be here with you, talking to you, and having this experience. And like, when the camera goes off, I hope we get to see each other again and hang out
Fuck
and
yeah.
carry on, dude.
I'll
Like,
be at the next Kid Romantic show for sure.
hell yeah. But yeah, it's just like we are so scared of opening ourselves up to each other, and that's what's going to kill us. Is if we don't open up to each other and if we don't accept each other as we are, and still love and support and be there for each other, then that's going to be the end of us.
You got it, man. It'll kill us all. It'll actually they'll start a World War III and it'll just be nukes and we'll all be gone.
Yep.
And that's a possibility that we're actually facing. And
Yeah. And the thing that don't understand is the thing that people don't seem to understand is after we're gone, the earth will still be here.
we're just a small piece of
when
the story,
the
man.
last human dies, earth will still be here.
Yeah.
Life will still be here.
Unless we do something really good.
Good.
I mean, good and bad's relative.
Really big.
I mean,
who determines what's good and bad when the last person dies?
I mean, really. I mean, there's your question.
Hey. Yeah, that's like if a tree falls, forest kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think the cockroaches decide at that point.
Yeah, they're already kind of the lord of this world. We just think we are.
We've been here before you. We'll be
Here
here
after
after
you.
The man.
Tell your fucking jokes.
You can listen. You can look at us because we're no matter how you slice it, we are all so utterly insignificant in the grand scheme of things. And I feel like the worst people in the world are the people who fight so hard to not be insignificant. It's the Bezoses and the Musks and the world, and the people who build pyramids.
Ego.
They want so badly to be remembered that they just disregard everybody else. They're so scared of being forgotten. They're so scared of being insignificant. And they don't realize that you are fighting against you're swimming upriver. Jeff Bezos is going to die, and he's just going to be the guy who's responsible for he's just going to be the guy with the penis rocket who, you know, whose company like let thousands of people die and starve. Like that's his legacy. When Bezos dies, that's who he's going to be. Is the guy, is that the evil, like real life fucking Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
And then all in pursuit of what? Of trying to make himself bigger than everybody else.
Right.
Do you think Shakespeare was like that?
I mean,
I'm just trying to think of like.
I think Shakespeare. I think Shakespeare. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I think Shakespeare was some guy in Victoria. It was in Victoria era. No, it was Elizabethan. It was the Elizabethan.
Probably.
Yeah, it was Queen Elizabeth at the time, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure I have an English teacher.
I
who
don't
gave me
know.
Yeah, I
that
think
knowing
we
this.
didn't shower and we powdered our faces at that time.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, like he was some
Needed a
guy
shizzle
who liked to write and had a really like he had a really weird sense of humor. Like
Yeah.
what did I say? Like Shakespeare is like the original bro. Like it's bro humor. If you ever actually like, really sit there and read Shakespeare, it's bro humor. It's
I
like,
see what you mean.
but like, I don't think when he was writing his plays that he thought he was gonna be
Right.
Shakespeare. I
Any
think
great artists?
I feel like he just thought he was just doing what he wanted to do, which was write about these two dumb rich kids that got everybody killed because they.
That's like one of the worst ones too. I don't like that one.
Feel like, bro,
if
she
you,
passed
I don't
out.
think that. I think if you could talk to Shakespeare about Romeo and Juliet right now, I don't think he would say it was a tragedy. I think he would call it a satire. I think if you look at it as a satire, it makes a lot more sense from a narrative perspective. It's here are these two rich kids who are so self-involved that all these people die because they can't get their shit together.
They want to piss off their parents.
Yeah.
I get. Yeah, I see what you mean about it being a satire. It's like it's certainly not a love story.
Yeah.
That I mean, it is that's a component in it, but it's almost like they thought they were in love.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
did they date for like what, a month?
It's
Yeah.
not even that. It's a story about privilege. It's a
Yeah.
story about privilege.
Well, what
And
was
a bunch
the-
of people getting caught in it and get killed.
Yep.
What
Yeah.
were the ages again?
Like 13 and
14.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
something
And when you
like
think
that,
of, but also when you consider the fact that people didn't live past like 30 at that time, like
Well,
They're
yeah.
middle aged.
You know, that's a
What
good
do I
point.
know?
It's like, yeah, 30 is an old man.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
But I just propose that question just because I'm just thinking about like those figureheads in history that, you know, are still going to be talked about like long after we're gone kind of thing. Like, what was that person like? Was Shakespeare like Bezos or so on and so forth?
I don't think
Was Roosevelt like Elon Musk or something? Who knows?
I don't think Shakespeare was out to be Shakespeare. I mean, he was. I don't think he expected Shakespeare to be
He just
what
did
it
his thing.
He was just doing his thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's if we all just, you know, accepted the fact that at one point we are going to die, and it might be 100 years, it might be 1,000 years, it might be 10,000 years, but eventually we will be forgotten.
Mhm.
And nothing we've done in our 50, 60, 70, 80 years of life will mean anything. I think once we accept that as an inevitability, we are free. We are free to do
We just
whatever
chill
we
now.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, no stress.
You do whatever you want because at the end of the day, nothing you do matters. But I don't say that to be a nihilist. I say that there was a quote from Angel of all shows.
I love that show.
This
Best spinoff ever.
What's that?
this is the spinoff
From
of
Buffy.
yeah, Buffy.
Oh, okay.
But he has this quote: "If nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do." It's like if there are no consequences to your actions, pretend there were no consequences to your actions. What would you do? Would you be a dick? Would you knock shit over and break things and hurt people? Or would you want to do good? Not because it matters, but because that's who you are in your heart.
When you
Sounds like
say
Star Trek.
so, like there would still be good consequences. Like you could still do good. It's just you couldn't do bad. Is that?
Or I'm saying if nothing you did held any significance.
If there wasn't
I don't know if I do
anything,
anything right.
that's your
Make
choice.
it old.
If it-
But
if nothing
ultimately,
had
that's your choice. And if you're willing to live with the quote unquote consequences of that, then, you know, that's you. Rock on.
I think maybe that one's a hard one for me to wrap my head around because I think I choose to do things because of the consequences. It's like this will have good consequences, or this will have consequences that benefit me.
I mean, so that's you make, yeah, that's a good point.
But if you think of it less so much in the consequences as being either materialistic or something that you will gain or lose as a result of,
Because
because
again,
either way, given enough time, what? Nothing.
yeah, nothing. Like none, you can't take any of it with you.
So if ultimately nothing matters, the moment that you live in, that is what matters because that exists. At least in theory.
Yeah, and the things that you choose to do in that moment. The next moment, who knows? But in this moment matters.
Which you do, yeah, I got you.
Trying to write a song about this. You guys are inspiring me. I'm gonna be up way too late tonight.
Right? Yeah.
Can't wait to hear.
What's songwriting look like for you guys?
It's definitely, I would say we're still experimenting with a few different processes. Because, I mean,
What's it start with? Like, does it start with a concept or like a riff or?
Hard to say. I mean, I'm sure you have your process, I have my process, and then Kid Romantic like has their process together.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
our process as a band, which I want to state on the record that like you guys are the best songwriting partners I've ever had in my entire life. Like bar none. It's not even close. Because I've never had the synergy. And I never thought I would have the synergy when it came to writing music that I have with you guys. Because the last song that we wrote together was incredible. I love that song. And I can't wait to play it and record it, and it's gonna be great.
yeah,
Bob, take note.
I'll be interested to see. Yeah.
But you know, and I showed it to someone close to me, and they were like, "Yeah, this isn't like anything you've ever written, but it's good." You know, it's very different from anything that I alone have written, and I like that. I like that. You know, it has sort of like all of us in that. You know. And I look forward to doing more stuff like that with you. We've only written one song together thus far, but it's a banger,
Right on, man.
and I can't wait to share that with people.
I'm excited. Yeah, I've never. I write poetry, but I guess that's. I didn't when I asked you guys that I didn't think about it. It's a collaborative effort, obviously. Like I don't. Yeah, that should have been. Yeah, now that I think about it, like obviously you each bring something to the table. Whereas like I just don't know what that's like because I've always the stuff I do is like just me. You
I
know?
don't know. I'm a big believer that poetry is lyricism, without the melody. And I mean, it
Yeah.
still even has like rhythm to it. And like whether you hear the words first or the rhyme first, or you see the imagery that you're going for, maybe you hear a cadence, and you find the things to fill in the blanks.
And also,
I wouldn't
yeah.
discount yourself for your process. I think it's very
Yeah.
musical.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I mean, like your art is what you want it to be.
Mhm.
It's yours, and don't discredit it because it's part of who you are. It's how you express yourself, and that matters.
Yeah, I really just meant I don't know what it's like to collaborate with people.
Oh,
Like I don't
Yeah.
I don't have any frame of reference for that.
I feel that.
It's one of those things that's either going to happen or it doesn't. And I know this because I've been in several rooms with several people who are like, yeah, let's write songs together. And then I'll leave that room and it's like, oh God, that was horrible. I did not experience that with you guys.
And it's also interesting too how, and I think it's kind of the same between us because like I've written with you and I've written with Alex, and I find it interesting between us that a lot of how things start are kind of guided by what we do. Like I'm primarily a guitar player, so for me, a lot of things start with either a chord progression or a riff or something like that I'll bring to them and be like kind of like our last song. Like I had this riff chord progression kind of thing. He kind of got a melody from that, and we started writing lyrics, or at least y'all pretty well wrote lyrics. And it came from that. Whereas some of the songs, like Alex had the chords, he had the melodies, like, and I think because he's very much, singer-songwriter, like from where he comes from, I'm not a lyricist or a writer or a singer in that instance. I think guides at least those initial processes, and then you just kind of bring that to the group and see what people are feeling and see how it grows from there.
Gotcha.
It's a beautiful thing, but it's also incredibly vulnerable. I grew up in a small town where not a lot of other people made music, so I didn't have that opportunity to collaborate with others. And so trying to work with other people when you've just like relied on yourself after so long, like, and my music's so personal, sometimes it's kind of like you cut yourself open and you're like, which parts do you want?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a level of vulnerability that you have to be.
For sure, for sure. I appreciate that, you feel comfortable sharing that space with us.
I was about to say, I'm never comfortable, but love you guys. You make me less uncomfortable.
Well, that's the idea. If you're less uncomfortable, we're doing our job.
Yo, cool. Victory.
This next question, I want to preface like no one on this planet knows the answer, but there's a million different ideas about it. What do you guys think happens after we die in no particular order?
I mean, essentially nothing, complete cessation of consciousness. I mean, just like how when you go to sleep and the next thing you know, you wake up for whatever reason, whether it's the sun rose or you got to pee, like during the space in between.
Definitely could be.
So you say it like that, but a lot of times when you wake up and you're like, oh, I just woke up, I didn't dream, like maybe you did and you just don't recall it. So maybe consciousness does exist after life, but that short-term, long-term memory is no longer there. Like, do we still carry it with us?
Could be.
I hope nothing.
You hope nothing?
I hope nothing. Life is tiring. It'd be good to sleep.
That does sound really nice sometimes, right? It's like
The myriad of different shows for the rest of everything.
So I'm a person who has a deep, deep existential fear of death. Like I can't reconcile the fact that 1 second I'm here and then I'm not.
Scary as shit.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all. And the more I've had moments where it's like if I sit there and I think about it too long, I will shut down. But an idea that I found comfort in is the idea of matter cannot be, or energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So all the synapses firing in my head right now that are allowing me to move and talk and speak and think, that energy has to go somewhere, right? So I imagine it's like the synapses and the energy that is making me or making my consciousness is dispersed throughout the universe. And I suddenly become a part of everything. Have you ever been in love?
I think so.
I imagine it's like being in love with everything that has ever existed all at once. Like just this indescribable euphoria. I imagine that's what I imagine that might be what heaven is.
Deathgasm.
It's
New band name.
It's a little heavy, don't you think?
I mean,
Life's a little heavy.
I mean, but dope T-shirt though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like that. Just where you
Can't
can't
fucking
even
read
read
it.
it. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Deathgasm.
Oh man.
So that's my working theory.
Yeah.
I love it. So we all become fossil fuels.
It's like that's kind of like, so like we're made up of all these different particles and dust and stuff from the stars and all that, and then it's kind of like we just, once that goes away, you just kind of go out again, right?
Yeah.
It's like a singularity. It's like things like the Big Bang or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. It's
And it's like obviously like it's the death of the ego. You don't know what's happening, but at that point, do you really care?
I guess you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah. it's only the alive in us that like wants to hold on to being alive.
Yeah, it's the sense of self.
Yeah, I have a lot of fear about that kind of stuff too. I think it can help to talk about it. Like I like hearing other ideas about it. That gives me some kind of comfort. Do you guys think there's like a rhyme or reason to any of this, or we're just kind of here?
I would very much like to believe that. Like it's one of those things that I would, but yeah.
Thinking about it, you already answered this. You said it's kind of like, that there, what matters is meaning is what you put into it rather than so. I think that was kind of a redundant question because we already kind of hit that. It's like, because you were talking earlier about what was it, the Buffy spinoff? What was it called?
Angel, yeah. If nothing we do matters, and all that matters is what we do.
Was there another spinoff though, or was Angel the only one?
I think it was just Angel.
Okay. I keep trying to think that there was another one.
It's like 12 seasons combined, isn't enough.
Yeah, she ran right.
Angel
right.
really went off the rails. Like they
Right.
should have stopped. It was
After-
good.
After
like,
they sank my ship, I was done. I checked out after Fred and Gunn. Like I hated that. It's like
Earlier on, you were saying that music is like, as a kid, was something that like really like helped you through some stuff, or had an impact on you, is what you said, I believe.
yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, who were and are some of those artists that like really resonated with you?
So
It's like you can name a million until I ask you. You know,
I
feel
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. So like I have a lot of bands that I love and a lot of artists that I love. The band I think that resonated with me the most, just like on an emotional and just like a just deep rooted level, is Fall Out Boy. Like their lyrics are so like kind of esoteric in a way and just so kind of like out there, but if you really listen to what they're saying, there's so many great little quotes there in all of their songs that it's just like something that really resonated with me at a time where I was just really going through it. And it was from the song Save Rock and Roll, from their comeback album after they came back from their hiatus, is "You are what you love, not who loves you." And like that, I could sit here and give you like Fall Out Boy quotes all day, just stuff that really like resonated with me and like made me feel less alone. So,
And kind of thinking of that, I feel that this somewhat relates because when you started talking about their lyrics, I started thinking of "Thanks for the Memories."
Yeah.
Whereas like say a prayer, but let the good times roll in case God doesn't show. And that kind of makes me think of like some of what we've talked about earlier.
I have never thought about Fall Out Boy lyrics on this level before, and I regret that.
I don't think a lot of people do.
Just
Like,
go to McKay's,
the
get a
boys
CD,
anyway.
open up the jacket. Like, yeah, it's fantastic.
What about you guys? Any major inspirations?
I love a lot of music for a lot of different reasons. As a child, I really loved Cher, but I guess the band that made me feel less alone and more alive was probably My Chemical Romance.
It's a great band.
I've been actually listening to them here recently. I like took a break where I didn't listen to them for a long time, not for any particular reason, just I didn't. And now I'm been going through Black Parade. I'm like, man, these songs, they're still fucking bangers.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that whole album was dope.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, we kind of had a conversation about this like not too terribly long ago, but
That's prepared.
not really. But probably about when I started playing guitar, there were a few albums that kind of came out around that time that was like, it'd be cool to like actually learn how to play. Green Day's American Idiot, that one. and also like Fall Out Boy, Green Day, My Chemical Romance. Yeah.
Right on.
I mean, I think the 15-year-old Trinity for me was probably NCR, Fall Out Boy, and Panic at the Disco.
There you go.
Yeah, it was Fall Out Boy, Panic, and Paramore for me.
Yeah.
That was the thing of our generation. That was like real saving grace type shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Early
like
Ben.
like the whole like Decadence and like the whole pop punk era before the khaki shorts and shit, like, and just like once upon a
I'm
time,
gonna disappoint you in the song.
once upon a time, pop punk had personality, and like every band didn't sound like every other band. You had Fall Out Boy, you had My Chem, you had Panic, you had Paramore, you had All Time Low, all these bands, and even though they were in the same genre and like they occupied the same space musically, they were all so different from each other, and they all had something different to say. You know, pop punk. Once upon a time, pop punk wasn't. You know, I hate my life. I hate. There's like it wasn't these like fucking spoiled white suburban kids crying about how much they hate their
I hate
lives and their
this
ex girlfriends and whatever. It was like there was like Fall Out Boy was whiny, but Fall Out Boy was whiny in a way where it was like they weren't passing the buck. It was like Fall Out Boy feels like someone. Fall Out Boy and Paramore and My Chem feel like, to me, those songs feel like somebody working through their pain.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
digesting it and rephrasing it.
Yeah.
On a similar line of thought, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine that like art is like something happened to someone and they're like trying to share that with you, where and then what you have is like and I'm not dogging anyone that does this because there's its own kind of art in it, but you have imitators. You see people who like people see people doing that and they want to be like that, and that's like there's a whole industry for that, right? Like
Yeah.
the because those sound engineers that are making stuff for like Justin Bieber and
Olivia
Taylor
Rodrigo,
Swift.
who's getting who like owes royalties to Paramore now.
Oh, I can't remember what it was, but like they're making bank
Yeah.
off of that.
I don't know. I've been hurt before, and I like her stuff though.
No, it's
Hey, she's
fair.
got some good ones.
That's fair, but I just say like it's wild that like she now owes royalties to Paramore because like her hit song, the song that put her on the map, is beat for beat just Misery Business.
No shit.
Yeah.
Which track?
Good for you?
I think it is good for you.
Yeah,
Huh.
that was it.
I don't hear it close enough to get sued. I
Oh.
feel like there's only so many chords out there.
That's true.
Like-
That's
That
true.
is
But it's
true,
like
yeah.
when you think about like somebody broke it down on a TikTok, actually. If I can ever find it again, I'll send it to you. But
Yeah, there's
like,
a couple
But you
YouTube
can literally
videos
do
on
but,
that
like,
with so many things.
you
I mean,
can-
how many
you-
songs sound just like Smash Mouth?
Well,
you can do
a
that.
lot are just sampling. Like in hip hop specifically, like you get a lot of samples. I listen to a ton of hip hop, and I like samples.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
like,
like that shit.
That's
slaps.
that's where that's hip hop's roots. And
Right.
it got to the point where they couldn't do it anymore because people were getting sued.
Yeah.
And that's how we got like 808s and shit. Like people,
Mhm.
and then we got guys like Timbaland who like really like made beats from the ground up. And it's like the stuff. And like that was, I feel like, you know, even though like I kind of missed the age of sampling, I think the creativity that is, like you said before, you know, necessity breeds innovation. When people were getting sued for sampling songs and they're like, oh shit, we can't do this anymore, people started building beats from the ground up, and trap happened.
Mhm.
And trap is such an, like, people will act like they trap music is this, that, whatever. Everybody listen to trap music. They used to play trap music in middle school dances. Like, and it's like, and it's not so much like the lyrical content, it's just the ingenuity that had to come out of that time. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
things that
for
they
sure.
had to do to make that music happen is like, it's artistry. It's art.
Yeah, it's kind of like we were talking about like innovation. I think you said it. Innovation comes out of like necessity. It's like that music never would have happened if like it wasn't the conditions that were around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like how
History is
we,
really important to context, no matter what you're talking about.
Yeah.
kind of like how we got grunge to finally kill hair metal.
Thank God.
And then we got butt rock.
And then we got and then
Hey, Bud
Nothing
Rock
but
is still
nothing
here.
but
then we got,
nothing.
and then we got butt rock,
Yet.
and then we got pop punk to kill butt rock.
Yeah, what you're saying about like in that early 2000s pop punk genre, I never really thought about, but there is like a lot of diversity in it. Like Fall Out Boy does not sound like Panic at the Disco, and Panic at the Disco does not sound like My Chemical Romance.
And even at those times when the instrumentation was the same, because you're still talking about drums, bass, guitar, and vocals essentially.
Exactly. Like
Those
everybody
bare
wanted to be Tom
elements.
DeLonge.
Yeah. And yeah, and Blink too. Like you look at all those bands, they were all working with the same elements and still kind of built their own pillars
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. It's like I don't really know if there are other genres, like if other genres do that so much. It's like
Sure they do. Hip hop.
Sure,
Like
yeah.
you can go and listen to a bunch of different, at least in that era, you can listen to a bunch of different rappers and like they all you know what Kanye sounds like, you know what Jay-Z sounds like,
That's
you
true.
know what Kid Cudi, you know, or like I don't know, who else was big? Oh, fucking Yin Yang Twins. Like you know these artists when you hear them.
you know what it is? You're right. There's a lot of artists in every genre. And what I think what it is like what I'm really seeing is that it's like oversaturated where you get a bunch of imitators, but there are those pillars of like kind of set the standard, and then other people start doing that. And that's what I'm seeing is like you got a lot of people that want to be like that specific artist.
I think what's happening now is that music is so accessible and so much easier to make now. And like
More tools, yeah.
Yeah, and like everything is so what's the word I'm looking for? Brief. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about Olivia Rodrigo. There was a point, there was like a 2 to 3 month period where all anybody talked about was Olivia Rodrigo, and then it just stopped. And it's not to say that people don't still listen to her or people don't still like her, but it's just that like she's no longer the trending topic.
I don't even know what that is.
Like, and like that's what's happening. It's like every big artist has like a 2 to 3 month period, like it's like a season where they're the hot thing, where like everybody's talking about them, and then it just stops, and then the next person comes, and then the next person comes, and then it's like that's what keeps happening, and everybody's trying to capture their 15 seconds, you know. And that's not to say everybody, because like there's music that I listen to, like all the stuff that I'm listening to right now is stuff that nobody else has probably heard of. It's just stuff that I found on accident, just like looking through like artists you may also like on Spotify. And I've compiled this like laundry list of artists that like I'm really loving right now. And like nothing sounds like these guys right now. Like nothing that's being played on the radio for certain, but like I just found a bunch of artists that way that I really, really enjoy. Like they don't have a whole lot of music out. They have maybe like a couple albums or two. They maybe only been active for like the last 2 to 3 years. But like I really enjoy this music and it means something. And a lot of I'm at a point in my life where it's like I don't need music. Music does touch me, but I don't need it to so much anymore. There was a point in my life where music was like a security blanket, where it was like I needed this to feel good. And I do still need music to feel good in a way. Like music makes me happy, but it's like I don't need it to feel, you know, when you're a teenager and you sit in your room and you just cry to this one album. Like I don't need that anymore.
It kind of sounds like you found in music what a lot of people find in religion, that like hope.
Yeah, hope.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't look for hope so much anymore in music. I just look for things that I enjoy.
It helped you through stuff, and now you can like appreciate it in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
I got
exactly.
you. This is really rude. I have to pee.
Oh, be my guest. I mean, be my guest.
We've moved in.
Our house now.
Yeah, we live here now, dude.
Okay, I'm good with that. I was at the gym the other day. You know the Folgers house is like our house in the middle of our street. Yeah, that music video was on the TV, but I'm listening to like death metal or something because again I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, it's fascinating. Like watch music videos, but listen to something else.
That's A really interesting experiment. We should
Oh,
try that.
oh yeah. And there it was I was listening to like I think it was like Sister Sparrow, and it was like Billy Idol video was playing. It was just like, this is interesting.
Video mashups. There's a video. This is my favorite video in the world right now. Well, one of my favorites. But it's like it's this. What my cup did he? It's
It was nearby.
but it like so like it's set up like it's a bunch of young African American gentlemen, you know, they're just hanging out on the block as they're wont to do, and you think it's gonna be like this hardcore rap song, and then the music starts and it's Boyfriend by Big Time Rush, and they're all like lip syncing and dancing.
There you go.
Don't they have like a
It's
show?
like the
And if
best
so,
thing in
did
the
the
world to
show
me.
or the band come first?
Simultaneously, Big Time Rush was a manufactured band specifically for the show.
Don't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Wasn't it
like,
like a
That's a
like
funny
a
thing.
fake band within a TV show?
yeah,
that
I mean, well, they've
then
been doing this
turned
since the
into it?
'60s. Well,
Yeah.
well, the thing is, like, I can't believe we're talking about Big Time Rush now, but that was a thing that happened at one point, and they were extremely mediocre. But Boyfriend was a bop. I'm not gonna lie, I really did fuck with that song heavy, like when it came out.
That was the Nickelodeon thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they have been doing that a long time though. That like
yeah. That was
Yeah.
the Monkeys. That was
that's what I was thinking too. It's like, man. So actually, were the Monkeys not a band? before
no,
that?
no.
Okay.
They
Wow.
remained specifically for the TV.
That's
show.
hilarious.
Yeah.
My favorite one's the Wiggles.
Yeah.
You guys know the Wiggles?
The Wiggles are great. I actually
I'm
don't
just
know.
kidding.
I actually don't know a Wiggles song at all. But hey, like people go hard for fruit salad. Like
Yeah.
that's a thing. Like, yeah, all right, okay. So the Wiggles have bops. That's fine. I'm cool. with it. Doesn't bother me.
We have been going almost 2 hours. It doesn't feel like that, but yeah.
I could
It's
go
my
another.
longest yet.
I could go another two.
Yeah, I definitely could too. For Alice's sake, maybe we should start wrapping it up though.
I'm done.
Kid Romantic. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Really great.
We love
Thank you.
compliments.
Feeling is
Alex,
mutual, sir.
Courtney, Mason, thank you guys so much. Alice, we'll see you next week and keep up with these guys, what they got going on. Bye.
Can y'all come back now?